6 years ago, I made a call to sign up for the Arizona Republic, and I only wanted to get it for the Sunday coupons, but the lady I got on the phone offered me this great deal where she could give me the Wednesday paper at a fraction of the cost, and I wanted her to get the sale, so I said okay. But I never intended on actually reading that Wednesday paper. I was in a season of my life when I was super busy raising 4 kids in elementary school, and I had a husband that traveled all the time for his job, so I had little room in my life to sit down and leisurely read. But little did I know it was the Wednesday paper that was going to change my life. So I was drawn to a piece week after week called The Wednesday's Child, and maybe you know it. I see a lot of head nods. But if you don't, it's every Wednesday there's profiles on children that are in the Arizona foster care system and who are looking for a family to take them in at no fault of their own. So growing up in Indiana, I never knew any kids in foster care. I never knew any families that took them in. So I was intrigued and drawn to these stories week after week. So one Wednesday, I was reading one when the Lord impressed on my heart that why did I continue to read these stories of these hurting children and continue to do nothing about it? And he was so right. Here I was with a wonderful husband, 4 healthy kids, and I could read these stories, feel the pain, but choose to turn around and live my blessed existence and leave it behind. So I knew that the Lord was right and that I need to look into making a difference. So I dragged my husband downtown to AASK, which is Aid to the Adoption of Special Kids, who's the agency behind Wednesday's Child. And I took him down there and we went to the introductory meeting just to learn more. And we left that meeting and said, yes, let's start the process to become licensed foster parents. And I don't know if you know, but it's a lot of work to become a foster parent. There's a lot of classes you have to take and interviews you do and inspections of your home and just a lot. But we finally got through it all and we were licensed in 2012 and ready to open up our hearts and our home. So one Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, I got a call that I was to come downtown to the DCS office and pick up a little boy. So I was super excited and headed downtown and picked up 6-year-old little Matthew. Brought him home, got settled in, and we had a good few weeks. And the first few weeks were good until nothing was good. Little Matthew began defying everything that we asked of him and needed of him. In the morning when instead of getting up and getting ready for school, he would race out the back door, jump in the swimming pool in his pajamas. He would throw all the food that we gave him to eat. He would run across all our furniture in his shoes, in the process of calling me a bitch. Funny, not funny. But he would, what else would he do? He would pull scissors on my biological kids, threatening them. And he would race around our neighborhood where I'd have to call the police time and time again to bring him home. So foster care was becoming very challenging very quickly. We were relying on a lot of prayer and professionals to get through each day. But the problem was there was nowhere for Matthew to go. He couldn't go to another foster home with the behaviors he was exhibiting in our own home. There were no beds open in group homes and no beds in shelters, so we were kind of stuck. Until one day, I was on the phone with a lady from DCS, and she told me that I could take him down to St. Luke's Mental Hospital and check him in. So that's exactly what we did with our first foster placement. We drove him down to St. Luke's Mental Hospital, checked this little boy in, and left him there, feeling like a complete and utter failure. I said, obviously I had heard the Lord wrong. He had not called us to foster care, because if he had, it wouldn't have turned out like this. Well, the nurses at St. Luke's were amazing, and they poured into me, and they told me it wasn't my fault, and that I had done my best. But I didn't believe them. I just felt like a total failure, and I wanted nothing to do with this foster care thing anymore. It was too hard. So our family took a break and renewed ourselves, but I couldn't stay away. So I searched for an easier way to help a child in foster care. And that's when we switched our license to Respite Care. And Respite Care is basically babysitting and helping other foster families when they need a break or a vacation. We would take kids in from 3 to 10 days at a time. And those kids who came through our home during that time totally renewed our joy and our spirit and made us want to try again to take in another full-time placement. So we reopened our license, and I was debating, should we take in a toddler, a boy, a girl? What would be a better fit for our family? When God intervened and I got a call, could we take in an 11-year-old girl from a group home on the west side? Well, not exactly a toddler, but I was already raising 11-year-old triplet sons and a 9-year-old daughter. So what's one more 11-year-old? Bring her on in. And Autumn moved in, and we had a wonderful year with her. I still get to talk to Autumn today. She is back with her grandma and her bio siblings on the Navajo reservation up north. But even though we had a wonderful year with Autumn, we decided we would close our license and go out on a high note. My kids were getting older and busier, and I just kind of wanted our family back and easier. But once again, I couldn't stay away. So I was once again searching for an easier way to help a child in foster care. So I became a mentor through AASK. And I was matched with a 13-year-old girl who lives in a group home in Mesa. And I would go out and pick her up once a week and spend time with her, build a relationship with her. And one day I took her to a Children's Heart Gallery event. And that's an event where kids who are up for adoption in Arizona, they come and they get their hair done and makeup done, and they get professional photos taken of them and nice profiles written, all to go on the website in hopes of a family to find them and adopt them. So I was in the big room with everybody, and Jen and I were playing a game together when a little boy walked by with his caseworker, and Jenna jumped up and excitedly gave him a hug and told me that they had lived in the same shelter together for 2 years. And in the moment that she introduced me to this sweet-spirited little boy, the Lord put on my heart that this was to be our son, that we were to take him in and in his search for a forever family. And I couldn't believe it. I was wanting to do easy. I was mentoring because I wanted to help out there and not bring it into my home every day. And now we're being called to adopt? We never wanted to adopt. But yet I was overwhelmed by it, but I was also super excited about it. So I came home from that event and told my family what had happened and showed them the photos, and they were like, "Are you crazy? We do not need to adopt. We don't need another child. We don't need this. We don't need that." And the excuses of my family were flying, because what I know for sure is that our excuses will stop us from doing hard but really important things. So I told him I knew God was in control, and if this was what was meant to be for our family, it was going to play out. If it wasn't going to, and I wasn't worried at all. Honestly, I wasn't worried at all. So we began mentoring Phoenix. He would come over once in a while to play, and he would start spending the night. And then he moved in full-time with us. And then we ended his search for a forever family by adopting him on November 19th, 2016, National Adoption Day. So I'm happy to tell you that he's absolutely thriving today, and so is our family. But it's such a joy to watch my teenagers who had all these excuses, right, of why we shouldn't do this and why we couldn't do it, to watch them love on him and mentor him and fight with him and tease him and just show him what normal family relationships look like is such a blessing to me. And I'm just so humbled by this journey that our family's been on, from feeling like a complete failure at this foster care thing to the Lord calling us to adoption 5 years later. Such a blessing. But what I've learned through this journey is that sometimes life isn't about our personal search for what we're looking for, right? Sometimes we spend so much time searching for happiness and fulfillment and whatever we feel like we're lacking. And maybe it's just about sharing the blessings that we've been given to another and ending their search by providing exactly what they need even a family. Thank you.